So you've been basically in doing everything mode. You're basically in everybody else's shoes right now, where no assistant. You're doing all the stems. Are you doing prep, I assume, as well?
Yeah, I got an attended mix today, and Alex Goose, my homie, is sending me stems right after this, and I have to prep it, and then him and the artist are coming in, and I'm gonna prep it and then mix it. And normally, like, Josh would prep it while I'm talking to you, and then I would just start mixing it. So it's a little different. Honestly, it's more scheduling. It's like, I was actually thinking about it the other day, because I cook a lot, and thinking about cooking on electric stoves versus gas stoves. Like, I think about boiling water, not like, oh, damn, I don't have a gas stove. I think, okay, it's going to take me 11 minutes on the burner at the highest power output that I have to boil water. So before it's time to make rice, I start boiling the water 11 minutes before I know I have to start the rice to do the 1.5 hour plus rice process that I like to do, right? So I think about scheduling right now this week, like I'm cooking on an electric stove. It's a little bit slower, but if I plot it out, plan how the day is going to go, I know I can still get everything done, right? I was doing an album's worth of stems. It took me 2 days, and it was about an average of 60 minutes per song, because some of the songs were 90 minutes to do, and some were 30 because they had, like, it was an acoustic song, had less stems, didn't take as much time. So you average out what you need to do. It's a little bit of math and it's a little bit of planning. So it's not overly stressing me out. And like I said, it's just making me be extremely mindful with the process, not cutting any corners. That's been the theme of Live with Matt Rad since you and I started, is there's no real shortcuts. There are shortcuts to do stems in the box, but having analog gear, I sit there and I record. And apparently there's also some sort of, script written to do that too, to send it out, make a new playlist, but then you're doing the whole bounce of the song every time. Sometimes an effect stem only has 2 places where that, crash cymbal hits. Why would I want to run a 3-minute stem for, 5 seconds of information? So you punch in, you punch out, and you consolidate later, right? So I'm imagining there are ways. Now, granted, if you want to go to dinner and run a script and it's going to bounce a whole song of stems while you're at dinner, that's fine. I understand doing that. But I'm, just figuring out shortcuts and ways to do it without having a real shortcut.
Yeah. And
I don't mind it. I honestly just don't mind it. Like, I'm not overworked right now, where it's not so much I can't handle it. I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but, there was a time where I was doing, 10, 15 songs a week. And I'm just not living that life right now, for whatever reason. Like, mixers go through phases of being super busy and overworked and not, and I'm at like a pretty steady mix or so a day. And that's manageable to do these things. Like, if I mix a song, I can do a song of stems in the same day. If I, have, like, I did 6 songs of notes today, I can still mix a song from scratch today as well. Like, that's not so overworked or I'm so stressed about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I also find that bouncing stems and doing revisions and doing versions is, like you said, sort of meditative, and I can also get other things done while I'm doing it. There's always an email to respond to, or clips for this stuff to go through and make decisions on, or like there's always little things, so you can stack up the productivity pretty well, I think. Yeah,
just trying to plan the day. That's all. I mean, Spider used to say this in some of our conversations nights, like, for engineers that weren't super busy, and like we're in the context of practice versus getting hired. It's like, well, fill the schedule, right? So you have X amount of days you want to work, X amount of days you want to prioritize your personal life and living. So fill that schedule. If you're not booked with work, fill the schedule with some pro bono work to get better. Right now, I'm just fill in the schedule with stuff that has to get done. And you know what? If people aren't asking for stems, I'm going to put them off for deliverables until Josh is ready to log in and do it for me. But until he gives me the word that he's ready, because he's going through a lot right now, I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to do things that aren't asked for. He does that a lot. He preemptively does deliverables. So when someone asks, it's very rare that we actually have to do them. And that's the best part of having an engineer that works for you full time, is that when someone emails, hey, can we get stems for that thing? He responds in less than 5 minutes with a link. Versus for me, I'd have to say, all right, give me an hour. Like, I'll get that to you in an hour. Versus the professionalism of, oh, we already did it, And I think that's where I'll lack for the next week or two while we're going through this this down spell, but no one's going to not hire me because they can't get stems within an hour. Like,
yeah.
If they do, then fuck that person, and I don't care.
Well, it's interesting you say that too, because it's sort of back to what you're talking about before with doing something on a holiday. Is if you can be the person that just makes people's life easier, where it's like, hey, we need this thing right now, and you're like, boom, here's a link. That's it's a leg up. It's not necessary, but it's a leg up.
We'll hopefully talk about this in the next week or two. Hopefully it's dropping as soon as they say because of this deliverable. I'm super stoked about this thing, right? We always come back to like, well, what's a priority? Like what am I afraid to lose, right? This is a gig I'm potentially more fearful to lose and to not step up to the plate in the ninth inning to finish this no matter where I am, right? So there's going to be times where that's not going to happen. First of all, there's very few artists I think that even can deliver on a same week deliverable, right? So there's something about you want to make these situations happen more than others. And then other people are going to be more lenient when you call them and say, hey, really, on 4th of July? Like, it has to be a certain level of seriousness and anticipation and planning, right? There has to be some sort of marketing planning that's happening that you're aligned with. So if I mess up, that will throw off the deadline for a lot of moving parts. And that's something that I don't think everyone thinks about in the sense of delivering. We think about the music industry being so fast paced, like everybody wants their thing now. It's not like a movie when the movie like release date is announced a year out. So like they have to hit that date. Music industry just like hits you with it's coming out Friday or Tuesday night or tomorrow or in an hour from now. And we have to kind of adapt to that. And I like that. We've talked about that a bunch on this. Like I thrive on that. So if I was home this weekend and I was at a dinner, for example, and they asked for it, like I'd leave that dinner to get this done, right? Like there's going to be no pushback from that having to happen. So it was the same thing. I just had to buy a laptop instead.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, all of this content is free. There's no secret knowledge here. There's no Patreon. We don't read ads. We don't have sponsors. We're just trying to build a knowledge base. All that we ask in return is that you share it with somebody. Thanks so much.